Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here. So Vasyl Lomachenko defeats Luke Campbell via a unanimous decision to retain his WBO and WBA lightweight titles, as well as capturing the vacant WBC lightweight title. Vasyl Lomachenko now holds 3 of the 4 major sanctioning body belts at lightweight. He's one more title away now from being an undisputed champion in that weight class. First and foremost, I thoroughly enjoyed this fight. I felt it was a very good technical boxing match, and it had me enthralled from first bell to last bell. To me, throughout, it was one of those fights where I always felt Lomachenko was in control, but Luke Campbell was having his moments, and I've got to confess, he did far better than I expected. I expected Luke Campbell to get stopped late on via body shots, but Luke Campbell, he showed good toughness, he showed good poise and composure, and he had his own success. So credit to Luke Campbell for, coming to fight and giving it a go. I felt the first 4 rounds were very intriguing from a boxing perspective. First round was the stereotypical feeling out round. Both guys were, trying to read each other, trying to assess what was in front of them. Neither guy was really throwing much in round 1. Though Luke Campbell threw a couple of nice left hands towards the end of a round, and I actually felt that won him the first round. Rounds 2, 3 and 4 were closely competed. Luke Campbell was trying to make the most of his range and keep Lomachenko at bay. Campbell actually landed some nice long lefts from range in these rounds, and also he actually done a good job of going to the body when it was at mid-range. But rounds 2, 3 and 4, I felt Lomachenko was doing the better work. He was snapping Luke Campbell's head back with that right jab. He himself was doing subtle body work. That obviously paid dividends down the stretch. And in rounds 2, 3 and 4, I just felt Lomachenko was a slight bit ahead. You could have scored some of those rounds to Luke Campbell, but I felt Lomachenko was doing the better work. I felt he was a bit more active, and he was the guy who was taking the initiative. Round 5 was a big Lomachenko round. Campbell was hurt to the body with a left hand, I believe, and that was towards the end of the round. The round itself was fairly competitive, but, Lomachenko closed that round out exceptionally well. He went through the gears, he hurt Campbell to the body, and he tried to jump on him at the end of the round, but the bell rang, so Luke Campbell survived round 5. Round 6 was actually quite a good bounce back round for Luke Campbell, again finding a home for that long left, and once again at mid-range he landed a couple of good body shots on Lomachenko, especially the uppercut to the body. It's like a hook come uppercut to the body from Luke Campbell. So round 6, Campbell bounced back well, but in my opinion he didn't really build on it. The second half of the fight, in my opinion, belonged to Lomachenko. I felt he started to figure out Luke Campbell a bit more. He started to pick his spots. He started to really target that body, as he did in round 5. And he was slowly chopping the tree down and sapping the energy of Luke Campbell. Once again, that jab out the southpaw stance, rocking the head back of Luke Campbell. He was also starting to time Luke Campbell's jab at times. Luke Campbell kind of has a low jab hand, and when he throws it, he'll bring it down low. And Lomachenko was countering that. And as the fight wore on into the championship rounds, that's when Lomachenko really found that second wind, or I guess that's when he went through the gears, because in rounds 11 and rounds 12, it was a beating. In round 11, Lomachenko come out, all guns blazing, trying to go to that body. He hurt Luke Campbell to the body and landed a barrage of shots. Campbell was retreating, he was trying to survive, but he was put down by a series of body shots, followed by a right jab. Campbell found the deck, and he beat the count, but Lomachenko finished the round really strongly. And round 12, last round of the fight, you would think Luke Campbell would be the guy gunning for the knockout, and he did take a few risks, but once again, Lomachenko in control and hurting Luke Campbell to the body, landing a series of shots to body and head. Vasyl Lomachenko just closing the show like all great fighters should do. That's one thing in this fight that I noticed. Well, I didn't notice it. I've known it about Lomachenko, but he's got a great habit of knowing when he needs to turn it up. A lot of fighters don't have that. That's a sign of good ring IQ. Lomachenko's the type of guy where if a round is close and he feels it's close, then he will flurry in the last 45-30 seconds to steal the round. Lomachenko has great awareness. He's got great awareness of how a round is playing out, how close it is, and how much time is left. And then as a result, he will up the pace if he has to. If he's in control and winning the round, he won't really push it too often unless he has you hurt. But he's a great decision maker, is what I'm trying to say. And I felt he showed that in this fight. He really did. I also felt he dealt with the rough tactics of Luke Campbell fairly well. Campbell wasn't being rough that often, but at times he was trying to manhandle Lomachenko and trying to make it rough. And Lomachenko handled that quite well. He took the shots that Luke Campbell did land well. And he took some big body shots in this fight. And once again, took them well. So credit to Lomachenko for getting the win. He had problems at times, especially from range, but ultimately he was always in control for the most part, and he finished the fight very strongly. I gave Luke Campbell a couple of more rounds than the judges did, but this was a wide win for Vasyl Lomachenko. And like I said, he is now the WBA, WBC and WBO lightweight champion. What's next for Lomachenko? It's obvious. He is looking to fight for winner of Richard Commey and Teofimo Lopez. I think that is the perfect fight for him, and it's a fight that I would be hyped to see. I do rate Richard Commey quite highly. He's a banger, he's dangerous, and he's a big guy for the weight. He's definitely a threat, and so is Teofimo Lopez. Strong young guy, explosive, flashy, power puncher. Both Commey and Teofimo are good opponents for Lomachenko, so whoever it ends up being, I've got no problem with that fight. I'd look forward to it. So yeah, Lomachenko's future is pretty much mapped out. And in regards to Lomachenko's future, interestingly, Bob Arum actually said after the undisputed fight, Lomachenko would consider fights at featherweight and super featherweight. So there you go. Lomachenko looking for the best opponents available. And that's what we come to expect from the man, you know. He's about those belts and he wants those bodies on his resume. And as a boxing fan, ultimately, that's music to my ears. Ultimately, that's all that matters. You know, is wanting to fight for best. Is wanting to be undisputed. And, if a fighter's aiming to do that, listen, man, they're all good by my books. So, yeah, credit to Lomachenko for always, looking to fight for best. And credit to him for getting the win against a tough Luke Campbell. As for Luke Campbell himself, where does the future lie? I mean, ultimately, this loss won't derail his career. In fact, I would say he's actually gained some stock after this loss because he actually acquitted himself really well. He showed good toughness and it was a good fight. So Luke Campbell's stock has risen. Whether he stays at lightweight or goes up to super lightweight, I don't know. Obviously, lightweight is a big weight cut for Luke Campbell. He's a big dude. He's a big, tall dude. So we'll see what happens with the weights. If he sticks around at lightweight, maybe a domestic fight against Anthony Crolla. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. It's a good bounce back fight for Luke Campbell, I suppose. But don't be shocked to see Luke Campbell move to 140. Can Luke Campbell hang at 140? He's certainly got the range and height to do so, but I'm not sure whether he's strong enough physically for 140. But, he's a good contender, whether it's at 140 or 135. He can be involved in some fun fights, but with Luke Campbell, unless he fights for the right guy or for like a vacant title, I think he's always going to be that fighter who just comes up short on world title fights. He will come up short against the best, and that's no slight on Luke Campbell. I think the guy's a good fighter. I think he's a genuine top 10 contender at lightweight, but just not quite of the elite level. But that's no slight on Luke Campbell. I do think he's a good fighter. But overall, I enjoyed the fight. Campbell was a lot more competitive than I anticipated, so credit to him. And I feel it was a good night of boxing. Share your thoughts below. What did you make of the fight? How did you see it? Did you have it a bit closer than the judges had it? I saw a few people online, they had it closer than the judges. What about you? Share your thoughts below. I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts. Peace.